Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome to my channel, Rover Turbo. This video, I've just bought another car and a minute. So I have to do you a walk round in a minute because it's pissing it down with rain. It's a 2013, so 63 plate Vauxhall Zafira Tourer. So it's a crank non-start. So I've basically bought it as a non-runner. We've got no idea what's wrong with it. Everyone's assuming that it's injectors. So the story goes that this trader bought it in good faith off of another trader, drove it home, took it straight to an MOT station because I think it was out of MOT or whatever. Apparently it was smoking quite a bit. It failed the MOT on the smoke. Then it seemed to be better. It seemed to clear up. It didn't seem to be as bad, which is probably how it got the pass. Then it was left sat for 2 or 3 days or however long this was. This was months ago, and now it won't start. So it cranked and cranked and cranked and cranked and cranked, and it won't start until the battery went flat. So that's how I've got it. Battery's flat. So what I've done is I've put another battery on it, tried to start it. It won't, just cranks and cranks and cranks, it won't start. So I've disconnected the pipe to the turbo inlet, and I've put a prop on the clutch pedal because you have to have the clutch pedal down on these. So I put a prop on the clutch pedal to hold the clutch pedal down, and outside the car you can turn the key to the crank position and it will crank without you holding the key. So it will crank and crank and crank and crank for a period of time until it stops. So while it was doing that, I sprayed brake clean into the inlet of the turbo, quite a lot to be fair, and eventually it did start. Coughed and started, and it ran, and it seemed to run fine, but soon it cut out. So I tried it again, and I tried the accelerator pedal, and the accelerator pedal's not doing nothing, and I kept it running just by spraying the brake clean into the inlet of the turbo. The fan was on constantly, the cooling fan, and on the dash it was saying engine overheating, stop immediately. So it's got coolant in it, and there's no way it could have overheated in like 10 seconds. So what controls that and the fans? Well, the coolant temperature sensor generally, which is a thermostat that goes inside the water housing, the thermostat, or somewhere in the head or the water jacket, that tells the ECU what the temperature of the coolant is, and therefore adjusts fueling and running issues and fans and other things based on that. So it's possible that that's gone way out of range, and it thinks it's 200 degrees C or something stupid, which is why it's putting the fans on as a default, and maybe that's what the starting issue is. It thinks it's too hot and it won't start. It's not fueling enough. I don't know. Anyway, that's as far as I've got. I've just got the diagnostics out. I've just plugged it in, and I'm going to scan the codes, and I'm going to see. Where's the fucking key? There it is. I'm going to put the diagnostics on, and I'm going to scan it. So I'm going to scan the codes, and I'm going to see what comes up. In between the rain, this is the car. So it's a Zafira C, I think it's called. I haven't really had a look round it. I know apparently he said that the rear bumper was a slightly different colour from the car, but that might buff up. There's a few scratches on it and stuff. It's not in great condition, to be fair. There's a few scuffs along here. It's starting to rain again. Just pissing it down. I think the rest of it's okay. I think there's a bit of a mark there, and there's this funny mark here. This is the engine. This is a 2 litre. It's basically, I think it's the same as the 1.9 engine, but this is the 2 litre one. I put it in the Insignias as well, and the Astras. So I think it's had a replacement turbo, I've been told. Don't know, but you can see down in here, there's remnants of something, I'm not quite sure what they are. These are, you know, bolts are loose, this bolt's missing. You can tell there's spanner marks on these pipes and stuff. Obviously someone's had that cracked open, and I think the pump is on here. Obviously we've got no idea whether it's had a cam belt or not. It's probably due on age, so that's probably something that I'm going to have to look into as well. So, well, there's just a quick overview of the car. I believe it's a 7-seater. Yeah, 7-seater. No service history, which I've already mentioned. No V5, so I've got to apply for that. So there you go, really. Not really a lot else to show you. Needs a really good clean. Don't know what that is in there. Obviously it's got detritus and crap and whatever, food probably all over the place. So yeah, anyway, let's pin it down the range. So there you go, that's the car. So this is a Zafira C, is what they call it. Is it equipped with stop-start? I don't know. I don't think so. And the battery says not stop-start on it, so I'll say no. Manual. So it's not in particularly in very good condition. I've just noticed that on the handbrake. This is supposed to have 60-odd thousand miles on it or something. 66,000 miles. The wear on this steering wheel and the wear on this gear lever and the wear on this is telling me otherwise. It's just, I know it might have been abused, but this is all broken. It's got blue tack holding it on. These go for around 7 grand, and I paid 2.6 delivered. So, but it's not worth 7 grand, no way, unless I put the money into replacing the steering wheel, the gear lever. I don't know how well these wear. Something doesn't seem right here. Okay, so all I care about is engine control module at this particular point. So engine control module, so hopefully this is going to be the money. Vehicle overspeed. Engine oil pressure sensor performance. Control module injector control performance. Exhaust gas temperature sensor, high temperature. Exhaust gas temperature, high temperature. Distance since last oil pressure warning, 106,000 kilometres. This has been clocked, hasn't it? Is that? No, that's in that's kilometres, isn't it? I don't know what that is in miles. They might be right, actually. That is about right. That is, you know, that is about 60 something or other. I'm going to take a picture of that. We'll read some codes, see if they come back. No fault codes detected. Okay, so live data. Okay, so it's 13 degrees. So that's about right. Let's start it. Well, try and start it and see what happens. So let's see if we can get some fuel pressure and stuff like that. Fuel rail pressure sensor. Right, so what was that, 3.2 I think it read up to. The two numbers we're looking for, the desired fuel pressure it wants is 30 MPa, which is megapascals or something. And then fuel rail pressure sensor is obviously what it's actually reading. So obviously when I crank it, that number should go up to that. And I don't think it's not, because what did it read? 3.5 when I was doing it before. Yeah, we're not even close, which would be the reason why it's not starting it around on brake clean, because there's not enough fuel there. So either we've got something like a blocked fuel filter, which it never is it? Or the pumps, the high pressure fuel pump is gone, or one of the injectors is knackered and it's the spray pattern on it is basically crap. Diesel engines require back pressure to be able to create. If you just have the pipe coming off of the fuel pump, the high pressure fuel pump, and you just have the pipe open, it's not going to spray out at high pressure because it needs that restriction. So if you've got an injector that is dribbling or producing too much fuel, it's not going to be able to build that fuel pressure. That's the next step I need to do. I'll have a quick look around and see if we can get a low pressure pump, whether there's actually there's an in-tank pump, I can hear it, and obviously we can see it turning on and off. If there's enough pressure from the low pressure pump. It sounds fine, it seems to be coming on and off, and it sounds how it should be, so I'm going to have a look to see if there's anything I can find on that. Right, so there you go. What to do next? Not sure. It's not building fuel pressure. Is that down to the high pressure fuel pump, or is that down to the injectors? Don't know. Someone's obviously been in there. It looks like there might be diesel, or it might be water in between the injectors. Some bolts are missing and stuff where it looks like someone's tried to. I mean, the bloke did say that he did start to try and start taking it apart. There's no windscreen wipers on it to get the injectors out. So someone was going to come and they were going to take the injectors out, get them tested. So maybe that's what I need to do. Thing is, every single experience of anyone that I've ever known that have taken injectors to get them tested, they've always failed. So what's the chances that if I send them all away, they're going to go, oh no, they're all knackered, it's going to cost you whatever. When it's probably only one or two due to the mileage, assuming it is what it is. All the history checks out fine. And all I've done is an MOT history check, and that all seems to pan out fine. If you do some other checks like HPI, and there's companies out there, and they're like Car Vertical, I think, is it Car Vertical? They can do a lot more checks, and there's other companies that do that as well, not just Car Vertical. So I need to look into, because the injectors aren't cheap. If you go to like Euro car parts, like 260 quid each. You can get them slightly cheaper on eBay, but you need to be a bit careful about buying stuff on eBay. I've looked at some of the feedback of some of these injector companies, and it ain't good. So yeah, so what I'll do is I'll pick up the camera. Next time I'm having a play with it when I decide what I do. I don't know how I can check the fuel pressure from the pump. I don't know if I can connect something, the main line out of the fuel pressure. The high pressure pump will go to the common rail. And there's a sensor in the common rail, and then obviously you get your pipe that goes out to each of the injectors, and then the injectors electronically open and closed by the ECU. So I don't know if I can connect anything to the pump, be like a valve or something, an overpressure valve which is open, and it's just letting all the fuel go back to the tank. I need to investigate a little bit more, is what I'm trying to say. So I'll do that, and I'll pick the camera up next time.